He's done it. 4. Balotelli. Aguero. Cahill. Cahill. Tim Cahill has done it again. What a goal by Tim Cahill.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Premier League Nightclub podcast. My name is Damon and with me this week I just have Woody, but to be honest I'm just thankful I've got people around me because, you know, the way the world's going at the moment, Woody, we could have had no podcast this week.
Mate, it seems like everyone is dropping like flies, both professionally and non-professionally as well. I think the amount of people that rock up to uni these days are just like halved. I had a 400-person lecture today, and it was like 100 people there, if that.
Gee whiz.
So it's a pretty rough. It's definitely causing society to go into a bit of a lockdown. I know we have the thing called, is it social distancing?
Yeah.
And I think we're about a meter.
Yeah, about it, right?
About a meter, but I still wouldn't want to sit next to you anyway. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. Of course, talking about the coronavirus, and it's like one of those things where, well, last week we got off this pod, and I reckon within 24 hours, Arteta, Arsenal manager, had been diagnosed with it or tested positive. I don't know what the right terminology is. Then just after that, Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea tested positive.
Yep. Then it was like Dybala, then
so many players, and then pretty much the whole world of sport shut down. And I'm talking NBA.
Yeah, within 48 hours.
And yeah, well, I mean, we're probably recording a podcast right now at the wrong time again because I think UEFA are making a decision on the Euros and other European competitions overnight here in Australia. So by the time this podcast comes out, probably going to have a better idea of what's going to happen there as well.
Well, I'm fairly sure with the Euros, I'm pretty sure it's almost just unofficially confirmed it'll go to 2021.
I think that's the best option. I think it's foolish and ignorant for them to not make that decision.
Yeah. Speaking of which, will we be making the trip to the Euros if it goes to 2021?
Well, you know, like I had to rule myself out for this year, but now that it's been moved, it just opens Pandora's box for me. So many possibilities.
So many back pocket issues with the wallet as well.
No, the thing is, Woody, though, this week, you know, it's been a challenging week for all football fans and all fans of sport. And obviously there's all these jokes going around about, you know, what life's like without sport and how do people who don't watch sport live like this. But one thing that's really tested me, it's my personality. Like, without sport, I've really got nothing else. Do you know what I'm getting at? It's
I know what you mean.
It's like all I can talk about is the fact that the coronavirus is stopping sport. Like, I found myself so many times, like whether it be a social event, not that I'm going to too many these days because of the virus, but you know, like with my parents or with my family, they're talking about, you know, how many people it's affecting, and I'm just like, yeah. And did you know the Arsenal manager got just like, that's all I got. It's just to revert back to it.
Well, it was weird because I actually went for lunch the other day with 4 mates. And the only thing we talked about for an hour and a half is consequences of the virus.
Yeah.
Which, like, I think not sums up friendships, but it sums up probably where we're at socially. I guess I don't know.
It's just it is the talk of the town, though. So, you know, not too much disrespect for us or to us, but you know, it is one of those things where it is the hot topic. So that's why we're talking about it pretty much most of this podcast, and we're talking about it all week.
Yeah, and in the coronavirus fashion or COVID-19, we have decided to lighten up this episode by cracking open a couple of Coronas, haven't we, Damo?
We have, and Woody, I went to open it before we started recording, and you just gave me the dirtiest of looks and said, "Come on, mate! Like, at least wait till we start." So, do I have permission to open my beer now?
You do. So, what we got sitting here is 2 Corona Extras, finest Mexican imports in the land. And Damon, there it is.
Yes.
And hit me with my one as well, Damo.
Sorry, was I meant to wait an extra few seconds? I think I was, but yes,
nice,
got it.
And not many can see, but Damon's actually struggling to get the bottle open behind his microphone.
That was actually harder than I expected. But, it's a very fine beer. And
shit. Cheers, Damo. Sorry, I drank some without you
that's
cheering.
It's all right. This could be a challenge. Random stops to have a sip every now and then. But, yeah, no. I thought we'd stick with the trend and open up a few Coronas. But one thing that did really catch my eye, and even Optus Sport, probably you'd have to say Australia's #1 most reliable football broadcaster, or only broadcaster, but you know what I mean, Woody. They're probably the main source for Premier League information these days. They even posted about Cristiano Ronaldo and how he opened up his hotels and turned them into hospitals, basically, in Portugal. And everyone thought it was legit for a good 24 to 36 hours. But
And we were like, oh, Ronaldo, what a good bloke. This runs in fashion.
yeah, but it wasn't the case. It turns out not to be true. And I don't actually know who started this rumor, but I saw a few people, maybe indicating that Ronaldo starts these rumors himself. But I really don't, I don't think that would be the case.
I think that's a pretty easy thing to check up on. So I don't know if you'd want that sort of reputation if you get caught with that sort of business. It's not like Kevin Durant and his burner Twitter accounts. He can't, like, if you're Ronaldo, you wouldn't be doing that. He's just,
No, he doesn't need it. And I don't think he cares too much what people think of him in the first place. He's always been about letting his football do the talking. So, but yeah, I thought that was really interesting, just how quickly, just like a virus, a rumor can spread. We spoke to Steve Wraith last week about how rumors in football just kick off so quickly in the world of Twitter and social media in general. So it's one of those things we've always got to be careful, and one of those things we've got to be careful of when doing podcasts as well. Because if we were recording this maybe yesterday, we probably would have said how good of a bloke Ronaldo is. You know what I mean, Woody?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think a good point about the Twitter, blob is seeing what the current situation with the EPL could be, because we've just been announced that the EPL has been delayed to April 3rd. But however, we've seen so much discussion about what's actually going to happen with the season if that deadline keeps getting pushed back beyond the 3 weeks that it already is. And we've seen so much being chatted about, what's going to happen with Liverpool, what's going to happen with their title. With the success they've had, surely it's basically a given, even though it's not mathematically proven yet. But, the title is theirs for the taking, and no matter if the season did go on, it probably would be theirs. So, again, like, there's so many different rumours we have to dissect about the EPL, but then more so about where Liverpool, I guess, are going to sit with their title race.
Yeah, there's so many different opinions, not just from keyboard warriors on Twitter, but people who with a bit of voice or a bit of power in their voice. Saw the West Ham CEO, she basically said the season had to be cancelled. Well, that'd be convenient for West Ham. But the team that strikes me the most is the most intriguing in this whole thing. Now, obviously, if the Premier League were to abandon the whole league, I think almost every club, regardless of their feelings towards Liverpool or their place at this time, give or take 2 or 3 teams, I think everyone wants the league to play out in some way or another, or at least results to be determined. One thing that really catches my eye is your Blades, Woody. I think they will be the story of this whole thing rather than Liverpool winning the league, because I think if they do give Liverpool the league, you'll probably find 85% of people will accept it, and Liverpool fans will celebrate it, and those who don't support Liverpool will turn off their phones and computers. But the Sheffield one's really interesting because they're 3 points out of 5th. If their game in hand is against Aston Villa, and let's be honest, we'd assume they win that game, which would get them into the Champions League if Manchester City are banned. And at the moment, if the whole season was, stopped and league positions were what they were, then Sheffield would make Europa League given Manchester City's situation. But I just think it is one of the more... I think it's the biggest story, because if Manchester City do get off and Sheffield don't play European football next year, I think it'll be one of the, as I said, stories of the season, but it'll just be so sad for one of the stories of the season already.
Yeah, but then on the flip side as well, looking at Villa with that game in hand, if they were to win that game against Sheffield and pull off something against the odds, which, this season that it's been, we've seen countless times per round, they'd be out of relegation. That's the thing. On the flip side, it does go both ways, and I'd love to see what happens, with that game in hand if the season eventually gets suspended or called off or nullified. With that game in hand, what's going to happen? Because if they share a draw, Sheffield won't get there, and Villa will still be in relegation.
Team, a draw does nothing for either team.
But on the topic of relegation, and likewise the topic of promotion, I guess there has been some speculation, especially from Sky Sports pundits as well, about the potential of a 22-team season being played, obviously, with West Brom and Leeds in the position for automatic promotion.
I like this one a lot. This one's my favourite.
Yeah, from the Championship. So, I don't know. That could be something really interesting that gets played down. And I don't know. It would be a 42-game season?
Yeah, for sure. 42 games. And it would probably, obviously, teams like Fulham and below in the Championship would be incredibly disappointed. They've earned their right to play in a playoff, and it might not happen. Look, you can't please everyone in this situation. I think every club is going to suffer in some way or form. you know, it is what it is, and we're just going to have to move past it as a footballing world. We always do. And I just one quick thing. I feel like the Premier League in general has copped a bit of criticism, and I'm talking world sport as well. I look at our very own AFL, Woody. I see Gil McLachlan. For those Australians listening, obviously know who he is, and copping a lot of criticism for the way the situation's been handled. But I'm on the other side of the coin here. I think people in these positions, I talk the FA, Gil McLachlan, whoever it might be in whatever sport, the decisions they're making, like they've got to remember that the pressure on them from broadcasters, players, you know, sponsors, there are people who, you know, it almost in a way, it doesn't matter what the people in power want. It's what the what the people who give them the power want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do agree with you, and I think it's quite hard because when you think about it, it's hard when people to think as sport as a business, because at the end of the day, there are sporting teams, but they're business entities.
They are,
and that's the thing. The financial, I guess, consequences of this is going to be so large, and it could see teams that have struggled in the championship or teams that have struggled in lower leagues potentially go bankrupt.
Even take a look at Leeds. They've again packed money into this attempt at being promoted. If they don't get promoted because of this coronavirus, it could set them back another decade.
Exactly, and probably the same with West Ham as well, and that's probably why, you know, since they've been through the financial struggles in last year, who knows what's going to happen without 3 weeks games revenue and potentially the rest of the season with no, I guess, backward support from the league. You don't know what the financial implications are going to be.
It's really hard when we're not involved, so we don't 100% know. But the decisions being made must be life-changing for certain people inside the organisation. But Woody,
just wait until we buy ourselves a team.
Exactly. Then we'll understand it fully.
Exactly.
All right, but Woody, it is something that we haven't done in so long because there actually hasn't been any breaks in football. Last time we did a rolling team of the season, you were, of course, away, and it was just up to me and Sammy, and you did have your say with a cheeky little text wanting to include Danny Ings. But something
in there.
Something tells me Danny Ings might not be in this one, but he might be. I don't know. Let's get stuck into the rolling team of the season. Y'all ready for this?
Damo, just before we do, I reckon we'll go a bit of two sharp reds here. What do you reckon of the Corona beer? How's it going down?
Look, I'm going to be honest. Similar to the virus, you might want to avoid it at times. But that being said, obviously much talk about how you do require a lime with a Corona. So I think if you've got a lime nearby and a Corona with it, you'll be fine. But just having it on its own can be a bit of an effort, especially on a Tuesday afternoon. When a full working week to go, pretty much, it's not fantastic.
All right, Damon, let's get stuck into it with a clink of the beer. Bang. Damon, do you want to start with your goalkeeper?
Sorry. My goalkeeper is obviously Dean Henderson. I mean, he's been unbelievable this season. Before we say who my defenders are and stuff, Woody, have you got Dean Henderson as well?
Sure do. Could not put him in.
I mean, 10 clean sheets, second in the league. He's been unbelievable.
You're right, and he's faced 91 shots on target, conceding only 22, which leaves him at the 75.8% save rate, which is absolutely immense for a team like Sheffield coming into the league. And he's going to prove some serious issues for Manchester United when his loan spell with Sheffield is up. Huge scenes there at Old Trafford. Who knows what's going to happen in their goalkeeping department. Damo, let's get stuck into the back four.
My back four is pretty similar to the one we've had almost all season. At right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold. How could we not? He's had 12 assists and been unbelievable for a majority of the season. Left back, Andy Robertson. Again, 7 assists. Those two boys just do it week in, week out for Liverpool pretty much. So I'm pretty sure you cannot not have them. And my centre-backs are Virgil van Dijk and James Tarkowski. And James Tarkowski has probably gone incredibly underrated for this season. Now, I know there's been a little bit of talk about how he's probably up there in England centre-backs, but I do think that even that being said, his season is going still underrated. 81 headed clearances, that's first in the league. First for aerial duels, 1 for defenders. 37 block shots, that's second in the league. 148 clearances, which is also second in the league. got himself a goal and assist. He leads tackles at Burnley, and he's the highest touches in the opposition box for defenders in the league. This guy is not just playing quality football himself, but he's playing the Burnley way, and I think that's all you can ask from a player in that Burnley team. When they get involved and understand the process, they have great seasons like this.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that as well, because when I was looking at my back four, I was looking at Ben Mee, his partner in defence, and the captain of Burnley as well. But then I was looking at their age as well. Tarkowski's 27, Ben Mee's 30, about to turn 31. So for me, I think Tarkowski is maybe just edging over the better of the two.
I think if you look, they're both very high up defensively, statistically. I think Tarkowski beats him by like 1 or 2 in almost every stat.
Yeah,
so
you're
it's
right.
very touch and go between the two.
I think the difference between the two is that Ben Mee maybe doesn't have the technical ability that Tarkowski does. I think Tarkowski, with his range of passing, probably pips Ben Mee a little bit as well, and he's a bit more athletic.
I think it's something about 70% accurate passing from long balls, and that's pretty high for long balls.
Yeah, I think he's only second to Connor Cody there from the Wolves in terms of defenders, in terms of long ball accuracy as well. However, yes, I believe that Tarkowski is the better of the two, which maybe brought me to my decision as well. And I haven't gone for Tarkowski because I was tossing up between Ben Mee, Tarkowski, and Chris Basham as well. Now, I have to go with my Blades ban here because he's the second most headed clearances, one behind Tarkowski, and has the most in interceptions in the league for a defender. Second in the league overall. And I think what he's done as an overlapping centre-back for Sheffield has completely revitalised their attack.
It's actually had an influence on English football as a whole.
Oh, massive influence. And we see now the amount of centre-backs that actually push into the opposition box. We've seen the likes of Azpilicueta. Obviously, he's played all across the back line. However, when Chelsea play 3-back, he's always that defender that overlaps and pushes as a centre-back into the box, playing balls and trying to get on the edge of headers. So I think the way that Sheffield play, and particularly this man, Basham, has completely changed the way that defenders are being played now in the league. So for me, he's in my team of the season.
Just to confirm, the rest of the back four, are they same as
Yeah,
mine?
so what I've done, I've gone Basham, TAA and Robertson as fullbacks, and then the big Verge, Van Dijk as centre-back as well.
All right, cool. Well, we'll settle that centre-back discussion at the end, I reckon.
Sure.
Move on to the midfield. It is a midfield 3 for me. I have Kevin De Bruyne, of course, and Woody, can we lock him in now as well?
Mate, you can't not lock him in. The man has 16 assists, absolute gem so far this season, and he's putting a serious case to be the best centre midfield in the world.
And Manchester City have been without him for 2 games this season. A 2-0 loss to Man United at Old Trafford and a 2-0 loss to Wolves at home. So it does go to show not just his importance, but the lack of goals that City have without him. So he's a lock.
Yes.
All right, my other midfielder is a man that's talked about quite a lot in terms of player of the season possibilities. It's sort of come up, especially since he's got injured, and that's Jordan Henderson. I think he's been underrated for a lot of the year, and then in a way almost overrated for the past month or two. But that's no disrespect to him. Ever since he got injured, Liverpool lost to Atletico Madrid twice, Chelsea in the cup, and of course Watford in the league to end their undefeated run. But I just think the 3 goals and 5 assists doesn't do him justice in terms of the role he plays at Liverpool. Fabinho's missed a decent amount of football for Liverpool, and at times he's almost kept Fabinho out. And last season, Fabinho was one of Liverpool's better players. So I think Jordan Henderson, for mine, has been incredible. And the other one is my man.
Shit. Here we go.
Fred. From Manchester United. Now, he doesn't have the stats behind him to warrant a selection in this side.
I was going to say.
But
Go on.
If any Man United fan or any person who watches Man United regularly will know the role this guy has played. And I'm not comparing him to last season because he's been the most improved player in the league. Hands down, clearly.
Yeah.
But just this season alone, the role he's played for Man United has single-handedly kept them in the top 4 race at times, especially when they had quite a few injuries just in that November-December period. And even so on once Rashford was out. I just think that Fred... Look, there might have been a bit of bias. My heart has put him in this team. But Woody, I'm interested to know who your midfielder is.
Question though, with Fred, are you picking him... If we're looking at a team, because we have said in the past that we want our rolling team this season, excised to be functional in play. Are you playing him more as an advanced central midfielder or just playing in central in the park or defensively back?
I think
what are you looking at?
The quality of the side doesn't warrant two defensive midfielders, but I would say that Henderson and Fred both have capabilities to be a defensive midfielder. So I would play both of them behind Kevin De Bruyne and give them the license to run up and down as well. It's almost like two box-to-box and an attacking mid rather than barely even have a CDM.
Fair enough.
I
don't know. Sorry, I just got Fred's stats up here a little bit. He's got 28 successful tackles, 78 unsuccessful. So let's just keep that in mind when I list off my midfield. And,
give me a spell.
Let's just have a gaze at what the big Nico has got in his team. Alrighty, so I've also gone for KDB lock. You can't not have him. He's the man's a machine. And I've gone for central midfield. I've also gone for Jordan Henderson. And I think it's one of those cases, and if you look at Liverpool's most recent runs, it's like you don't know how much you missed something until you've actually lost it.
Yep.
And I think that's exactly what's happened here, and it's probably made the world really recognise Jordan Henderson's contribution to the team. Because I think before he was injured, he wasn't really in any discussions or team of the weeks or that sort of business. But since he's gone, he's immediately been plummeted into play of the season talks. And that's a huge jump to have.
It's being also worth noting his flexibility as well.
Yeah.
He's been thrown around.
Yeah, or he's been playing as a right winger when Bobby Firmino, chooses to sit back and Salah picks his role in the centre.
Yep.
And then obviously Henderson pushes out to the right wing. He has contributions from all over the pitch, and obviously it's one of those things where the stats just straight up don't support his play. Mm-hmm. He's a guy with the strongest engine. He's the guy with the strongest heart and potentially the strongest leadership capabilities as well. So that's why we've both got him in our team. He's probably the man wearing the armband in this situation. However, my third man, I've gone for Jack Grealish. And I put him in the central midfield position because that's a position he has played not so much... I
was about to say, the criticism for Fred's pretty unwarranted when you haven't even picked a centre mid, as far as I'm concerned.
Mate, calm down. If we're playing him as an attacking midfielder, right, he's got 127 fouls won, highest in the league by 33. Next one is Wilfred Zaha. And then he's got 7 goals, 6 assists coming from a deep left wing position, right? Or a deep, probably a further advanced midfielder in a way.
Or just your typical left winger.
No, because he's been pushing. He's been pushing central. He plays in that position. Anyway, his 4th most dangerous passes played in the league. So dangerous passes classifies as a pass that leads to a direct shot. Mate, the man is a machine. I reckon he should be straight on the team sheet for England come the Euros. If they're next year, this year, who bloody knows? He's Aston Villa's captain for a reason, and I think for me, watching him, he has to be one of the best players to watch in the season. Hands down. Not even a question for me.
All right, well, we're going to come back to that midfield discussion because at the moment it stands Henderson and De Bruyne are in, so now there's only 2 positions so far up for debate, 1 centre-back and 1 central midfielder role. Up into the attackers now, Woody. And I've gone for the man who, up until recently, probably didn't have a great start to 2020, but his 2 goals the other week against Villa keeps him in my team, and that's Jamie Vardy up top. I think 19 goals, can't really go wrong when you're the leading goal scorer. In left wing, I have Sadio Mane. Now, this guy, I had him down as Liverpool's best player of the season, so I just don't think he can go past him. 7 assists, 14 goals. He's been unbelievable this season at times, and found goals at important times, which I have mentioned throughout the season a lot. And on the right, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Talk about carrying. Single-handedly has kept Arsenal alive this season. 42% of their goals have been scored by him. 17 goals for the season. Just the 1 assist, but that's not his role. His role is to bang them in the back of the net. And so, yeah, he is my right winger.
Can I also say, you have cracked it at me for putting Grealish in a quote here. No. Quote here. Unfulfilled position that he may or may not have played throughout the season. I'm not saying Aubameyang hasn't played right wing, but we all know he's a out and out left winger for this Arsenal team, and you've stuck him on your right wing, which means you're choosing 2 left wings. Now,
Aubameyang has at least played at right wing for Arsenal this season. I don't think I've seen Jack Grealish in central midfield for Villa.
Again, like I'm saying, he'd be attacking central midfield if we're playing him. Alrighty, don't get me wrong here. You know exactly what I'm saying here, and we both know KDB isn't the most attacking midfielder. He's always the one pulling the strings from deep. Sometimes, majority of the time, actually. You know, with Rodri just behind him as well. He's nowhere near the most attacking midfielder like a Bernardo Silva.
Okay, so are you saying Grealish should be played ahead of De Bruyne?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Alrighty. Now, I'll get stuck into my front three as Damo finishes off his beer. Mm-hmm. I've gone with Aubameyang on the legit left wing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and I think it's a fair data as well. I've gone for Mo Salah at right wing. And the reason is because I think he's just probably the most prolific right wing out there. The man has 16 goals, 6 assists, and he's averaging a goal every 140 minutes he plays. He has the most touches inside the opposition box and the second highest shots this season, but, however, has the highest on target. The man, although he gets criticised so much for his defensive, lack of defensive effort, sometimes he's just an absolute weapon in front of goal. Absolute weapon. He cracks shots left, right, and centre. And if looking past the goals and assists that he has, he threatens the defence so much. So much. I think more so than a lot of what right wingers do. And maybe because he's played a lot further forward, I don't know. But the man creates chances and puts Liverpool in winning positions.
All right, so who have you got up top?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
You're not done.
I've actually gone for Sergio Aguero.
Really? So you're keeping out the leading goal scorer in the league?
I am.
This will be good.
No, I think it's completely warranted, right? So I look at the Vardy versus Aguero, right? They both had the same amount of goals with, 0.73 per game. All right? Goals per game.
Yes.
Vardy, however, 19 goals, 4 assists. Aguero, 16 goals, 3 assists. Vardy has one more assist and 3 more goals. However, Aguero's played 4 less games. Okay, so for me, I feel as if they'd be on par if they played the same amount of games. Okay? So if you're looking at goals per game ratio. But then looking beyond that, Aguero scores a goal every 87 minutes, with a goal contributing every 74 minutes. Vardy, on the other hand, is a goal every 117 minutes and a goal contribution every 97 minutes. And that's Aguero's efficiency on the pitch. Now, the man has a lot of shots, don't get me wrong, but the thing is, he comes on or off as a sub a lot more than what Vardy does. And whether that's down to Manchester City's options, who knows? But his efficiency when he shoots and the minutes he plays is so much more significant than Vardy. I think, for me, it pips him in this team despite missing 4 games.
All right. How about this? I will give you Mo Salah over Aubameyang if you give me Vardy over Aguero.
So you want Mane in there?
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's it's a fair one. I just don't feel as if, I want both. I do want both. I do want both.
All right, hang on.
But it is pretty stiff to lead out the leading goal scorer. And with that being said as well, if you look at the other leading options, someone that I was tossing up between was Raul Jimenez as well. The man has 13 goals and 6 assists with the season, and has played the most. But he's played the most minutes out of Aguero, Vardy,
I think he just
and
falls
Jimenez.
short.
He just falls short. And it's unfortunate because we're only choosing one striker, essentially.
Yeah.
Whereas in the previous one, we chose Ings and Vardy.
I'd also argue that if we were having 2 strikers, you could have Aubameyang and Vardy up top.
Yeah, you could.
Or actually, you could put Aubameyang and Mane on the wings and have Aguero and Vardy.
Yeah,
up
which
top.
will just restrict us to 2 midfielders as well. However, it's something that we probably can't do considering the amount of players on offer, especially in defence and midfield as well. I think it's only fair that we do the 4-3-3 split. Yep. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Aguero. I'm going to hold strong there. However, I do see the validity of having Vardy in there because he's the highest goal scorer.
Okay, so, that pretty much just says nothing in our decision to make a decision. So, all right, just to confirm, Henderson in goal, Robertson left back, Van Dijk centre back, Arnold right back. Who are we picking between Tarkowski and Besham? I actually can't move on Tarkowski. I refuse to let you have anyone else.
All right, well then I'm going to follow in suit as well. You can have Tarkowski in it. I'm going to +1 to you, but you owe me one. Alrighty, so that means De Bruyne, Henderson, lock Grealish or Fred for midfield?
All right. Because I understand there may be a little bit of bias for my man crush involving Fred, I will give you Grealish if you promise on the Instagram post to have Henderson behind De Bruyne and Grealish in sort of like a 4-1-2-3, if that's even a formation. Do you know what I'm saying?
Wait, so hold on.
Like what Man City play with 2 attacking midfielders and Rodri sitting behind. Can that be done?
Sure, done.
Okay, cool. All right, so now the attackers, and we've actually both got Aubameyang, but I feel like he's the one that we're willing
splitting
to
us, yeah.
That we're willing.
He's
to
the
move.
bargaining chip.
Yeah, for both of us. So it's actually hard to make a decision here. So I really don't think you can move Mane from left wing though. That's my only issue.
Fair enough.
So if we take Aubameyang out,
Yeah.
are we going to have to put Aguero or Vardy as a right wing? Or I'm actually happy to give you Salah as well. That's the thing. I'm happy to.
So you want to go Mane and Salah?
I think I'm for a team that's lost one game all season. I don't have any issue with it.
That's so stiff on Aubameyang though.
I know it is.
He's put Arsenal on his shoulders in every competition, not just Premier League as well.
It is true. It is incredibly tough. Do we want to have Mane? Oh, it's so hard not to put Vardy in there. I was going to say, do you want Mane, Aguero, or Aubameyang as the front three? But then we're leaving out Salah and Vardy.
That's hard.
It is very hard.
Alrighty, so I reckon. All right, let's just look from a gameplay point of view. I reckon.
Okay.
Would you rather Mane or Aubameyang on your left wing?
Mane.
From a gameplay, if you were picking a team to play,
I'd pick Mane.
All right. Would you rather Aubameyang or Salah?
I think I would. Oh Jesus! It is really hard because.
No, but I'm talking about if you were to pick a team to play right wing.
I think you'd have to go Salah.
All right. Well then, again, that's our decision. Then we have to stick with it.
All right.
Mane and Salah. We're going for the Liverpool wings.
Yeah. And up top.
That hurts. I think
is Aubameyang an option to chuck him up top, or do we stick with Aguero and Vardy?
We're getting mixy here. I don't know about this. Yeah, I reckon we stick with Vardy. We have to stick with Vardy. He's golden boot. He's golden boot as it stands right now. It could be the golden boot if the season gets called off.
All right, so we're sticking with Vardy. Then.
Sticking with Vardy.
All right, done. And I like Vardy's ability to stay on the pitch. So Aguero is clearly probably the better player.
Yeah,
but I think you got to go Vardy for this season.
All right, so just a quick recap. Henderson in goals. Left back, Andy Robertson. Centre back, Tarkowski and Virgil van Dijk. Right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Centre mid, we're going Henderson, De Bruyne and Grealish. Left wing, Mane. Striker, Vardy. Right wing, Salah. Damo, sound good?
I'm happy with that.
Alrighty, Damo, let's finish it off with a clink of the beer. Bang.
Cool. All right. Speaking of things that we haven't done for a while, it's time to bring back another one. And I think this one's a fan favourite. It is time for everybody's favourite segment, and that is the Premier League Nightclub game show. Alrighty, it is back for the first time in a while. As I said, the Premier League Nightclub game show is here. And on the line, we have a long-time fan who's been wanting to get on, but of course, has actually just come back from Europe, so he just avoided the going into quarantine. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us.
G'day, boys.
Jesus.
It is about time. Anthony, I'm sure you're familiar with how the game works, but just to remind the listeners and yourself, it is 5 rounds. There will be 2 rounds of Name That Team, 2 rounds of Name That Player, and 1 round of Name That Manager. Your name is your buzzer. Make sure you know who it is, because if you get the answer wrong, then the other person gets to listen to the rest of the clues. There'll be 5 clues, and then they get to have their guess. It's best 3 out of 5, but if it's a draw, it is just a draw. I still haven't come up with a tiebreaker round or extra time or anything like that. So, are you ready?
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, actually, this is a question we like to ask all our contestants. What Premier League club do you support?
I follow Arsenal, have for about 10 years now.
The Gooners.
The Gooners. I think this is our first Arsenal fan.
I think it is.
All right.
It's a hard life.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. All right, you ready? First up,
Yeah, let's do it.
name that player. I have played in the Premier League since the start of the 2015-16 season for the same club. I am a 2-time PFA Young Player of the Year. I am English. I am an attacking midfield player. And final clue, I scored in the 2018 FIFA World Cup for England.
I should know this.
Give you both about 10 seconds.
This is rough. We can't even get the first one.
I've only got this.
Two-time.
I need an answer, lads.
But wait, you say two-time PFA Player of the Year.
Young Player of the Year.
Oh, Young Player of the Year. Oh.
Anthony.
Yes.
Is it Lingard?
No.
Who do you say? Lingard?
Jesse Lingard. No.
You're a fool, mate. Oh, actually, Nick.
Yes.
Raheem Sterling.
No.
Who is it?
It is Dele Alli.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So there you go. Yeah, no. Jesse Lingard was actually the player that you could have got confused with if it wasn't for the Young Player of the Year, because he pretty much was in every single clue other than the Player of the Year one. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it wasn't a
That's
bad
tough one.
guess. All right, next up, name that team. We have won the English top flight once in our history, but it was in the late 1800s. We are currently playing in the Premier League. We have lost just 7 games this season in the league. We have received just 1 red card this season, and that was our captain. Final clue. We have 1 player on loan from Manchester United.
Nick.
Yes.
I should have said Woody. Blades.
Yes.
Yes.
It is
Oh, yours
Sheffield.
would be the place.
It is Sheffield United.
Yeah! Get some!
So I'm sorry in advance, Anthony. I knew that last clue was going to push Woody over the edge.
Yeah, obviously it's his favourite name. Of course he's gonna.
Of course. All right, so 1-0 to Woody as we go into name that manager.
Okay, let's do it.
I have managed a variety of Premier League clubs, one of which is Fulham. I took Fulham to the Europa League final in 2010 when we lost to Atletico Madrid. The club I am currently at, I have been with since 2017. I have managed an international team before. And finally, last clue, I have recently signed a contract extension with the club I am at.
No, I'm blank here. That's a really tough one.
10 to 15 seconds.
That's rough.
5 seconds.
Jesus, this is horrible.
Yeah, that's a really tough one, don't I?
I think I'm going to call it, lads. It is Roy Hodgson.
Jesus Christ. That's horrible.
I felt the international manager one might have been able to give it away, but
Who does the manage now?
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Oh, God.
So yeah. All right.
I'm a bit rusty.
4th round. Anthony, if Woody wins this, you're cooked. So you got to at least draw this one. All right. 4th round. Name that player. I played in the Premier League from 1996 through to 2013 with yes.
Gigs.
No. Oh no! Watch the language, young man. All right, so Woody, I will let you.
All in on that one, didn't I?
You sure did. I will let you, Woody. I'll let you hear the rest of them.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, just to repeat that. I played in the Premier League from 1996 to 2013 with 1 season in Spain. During
One season in
that time,
Spain. Okay.
I won 1 Premier League title. I scored 150 goals in 326 appearances in the Premier League. I am English. Final clue, I am the only player in history to score 4 goals in 4 major tournaments for England.
4 goals.
So one goal in
I know this one as well.
1 goal in 4 different tournaments for England, I should say. At least one.
What do you have to know this one?
Listen to this guy.
4 goals in 4 major tournaments. Can you just repeat all of the clues again? Sorry for me.
Jeez, this is very, very generous. But I played in the Premier League from 96 to 2013, 1 season away in Spain. I won 1 Premier League title. I scored 150 goals in 326 appearances. I am English, and I'm the only player in England history to score in 4 separate major tournaments for England. I'll give you 10 seconds here.
Yes, I reckon. Nick.
Yes.
Michael Owen.
Yes!
Because the only team he won was the fucking Manchester United.
Yes, he won the league title at Man United.
Jeez.
Alright, so we
That's
take
rough.
the chockies, but we will play the last round just for,
Yeah, let's do it.
for the fun. Alright.
Did you know that, Anthony?
Yeah, I knew it was Owen. When he said the
Yeah.
Spain.
Yeah, gigs, yeah.
Alright, final one. Name that team. We have won the English top flight twice, last time being in 1960. Our current manager is English, so a very English themed game show today. We finished 15th last season.
Nick.
Yes.
Bournemouth.
No. So Anthony, I'll just say the final 2 clues to you.
I wanted us to slow down.
We had
Nice.
we had one player make the England squad for the 2018 FIFA World Cup. We currently sit in the top half of the Premier League table.
Okay. Anthony.
Yes.
Burnley.
That is correct, Anthony, on the board late. On the board late. So it's a 2-1 win to Woody, but Anthony, well done getting on the board. If you probably held off another 2 seconds on that clue, because you didn't even let me finish the first clue, you probably would have got the Owen one as well. So fine margins here at the Premier League Nightclub, but it is what it is.
Yeah, jeez.
Thank you so much for coming on, Anthony. Hope you keep listening. Don't be put off.
Stiff Bicky's champion. Love your work, mate. Love your contribution, but I reckon... Huh?
I'll be listening every week, don't worry.
Good man, good man.
You legends. Alright.
Cheers, thanks for contributing, champ. But better luck next time, and maybe
All right, you wrap it
go
up.
back to Europe, champ.
See ya, Anthony.
See you, boys.
Gee whiz, Woodrow. You've 4 from 5 now, probably?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we've done about 7 of these, and
Oh, no,
maybe 2 of them
I
have
think
stuffed up recording.
I think I'm 3-1-1.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, officially.
Who did you draw with? I can't even remember. We'll have to
I think I
listen
drew.
back.
Was it Danny?
Nah, Danny beat you. Danny's your
Danny
only-
was my only loss.
Yeah. I can't remember who you drew with. The draw might have been one the microphone stuffed up, because I was about to say, we've done about 7 of these, but only 5 of them have come through. But nevertheless, Woody, I know you're up and about right now, but it's time to get angry.
Yeah. A few things have absolutely made me angry, and that means a return for Woody's whip. So, my whip this week is completely validated, because I know I've had some skeptical ones in the past, but this one is aimed at the international football champs that they are, PSG. All right? So PSG are easily becoming one of the most hated teams in Europe. Not only are they flashy players, but I reckon they're genuine douchebags underneath those flashy cars as well, right? Their lack of class after their Champions League win against Dortmund was on full display. Absolutely disgusting. They had the nerve to bag and repeatedly dig into a 19-year-old player. 19 years old.
Talk about being insecure.
Mate, talk about being insecure. Neymar carried on like a headless fucking chook when he scored that header, right? And after the game, there were the whole PSG squad doing the Erling Haaland, the yoga celebration. Absolute joke, right, mate? The whole time, they are bagging a 19-year-old who is probably the youngest hot prospect in Europe right now. Neymar is supposed to be the best footballer in the world. The hands down the most expensive. Right? And he is wasting his time bagging a 19-year-old. Mate, if anything, he should be switching his shirt with this kid at the end. He's going to be better than him. Seriously, PSG have fell so short in the Champions League that they feel the need to celebrate a win like that. They're not fucking winners yet. They're not winners yet.
The thing is, this is their first time they've gone through past the round of 16 with Neymar and Mbappe on the team sheet.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's worse?
They might not even play.
No, in the Paris square when they got back to Paris, right? They all took their shirts off and there were flares in the streets. They haven't won yet. They haven't won.
It's difference in mentality, I guess.
It's ridiculous. You look at some Marquinhos, you look at Mbappe, you look at Neymar putting all these stories up on the Instagrams and Facebooks and whatnot, right? Mate, they're celebrating like they've just won the World Cup or like they've just won the Champions League. They're just through the round of 16. That's it. That's it. And they're acting like complete fools. Who do they think they are? Mate, one night in Paris happened last year. That's probably going to happen again next round, and we're going to see where they're all going to go back into their shells under their rocks. They're jokes, mate. PSG are a joke. They're so far up their own arse, they literally don't know how to be competitive with the world anymore. It's a joke. And as soon as they play a competitive matchup, they think it's like, you know, they've won the Champions League or they've won the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because they play against farmers every week. They don't know what good competition's like. It's a joke. It is a joke, and it's so embarrassing to watch as well. So embarrassing.
Alrighty. Is that it?
Yep. Whip's done. Whip's done.
The whip is done, and I think with that, it means this episode 37 of the pod is also done. Woody, I feel like it was a tough episode in terms of obviously lack of football, and as I spoke about, my lack of personality comes out when there's no football on. So I think we did well though, given the circumstances.
I think we did so as well. And I still got a little bit of a headache. I got so much blood going to my head because that Woody's whip. But Damo, just before we cap off as well, so we finished our Corona extras, finest import from the land of Mexico. Who would you compare it to as a player?
You're joking.
No.
I would probably say, you know what? I'm actually going to say, Jesse Lingard. And
Jesse Lingard.
The only reason I'm saying this is because, as I spoke about earlier, it requires something else to be good. And I feel like Jesse Lingard's the type of players who needs quality around him to flourish. And it's also probably one of the most popular beers for 18-year-olds and young people. I would also say Jesse Lingard is popular with young people.
Is that because he's still 17? Still the hottest young prospect in Europe?
Some people's eyes. So yeah, I would have to go Jesse Lingard because it requires things around them to be quality, so that it's quality, and it's a bit hit and miss for the older folk, but it's funny and fun to drink for the younger folk. Woody, who would you hit up?
Well, for me, I feel as if this is crisp. This does the job, but for me, it just falls short because it is lacking a little bit of
quality,
a little bit of additional sauce to it.
Okay.
And for me, that represents Liverpool. They've done so well the whole season. They've been crisp, they've been sharp. They go the whole way, but I honestly think they're just going to fall a little bit short.
Oh, you're joking. Honestly, can I just say, if we get any emails or anything like this from people at Two Sharp Reds, we're just going to come back with, they stole our idea for cartoon album covers for podcasts. So yeah. I think it's 1-1 if they have an issue with it.
Completely agree. And we're not calling it Two Sharp Beers, are we?
No, we're calling it,
the Premier League nightclub. Yeah, and this is what the bar served us up at the nightclub.
Yes, it did.
We have no choice.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and you're hitting on the Infinity Dance Floor. Damo, where can you find us on the Twitter?
On the Twitter at PL Nightclub, and on Instagram, Woody?
You can find us at Premier League Nightclub. Thank you all guys so much for listening to episode 37. The Premier League Nightclub train keeps rolling on. The coronavirus, Ep 1.
Yeah, that is the case. And of course, the next 2 or 3 weeks and so on will always be up in the air, but we will always be posting on our Twitter, especially in regards to whether an episode will be coming out. At this stage, it's weekly still, but if we do run out of content or if it's just not the right vibe to make a pod, we will notify all on our Twitter and probably even on our Instagram, so keep an eye out for them. Of course, make sure you subscribe, follow wherever you listen. But until next time,
keep boogieing at the nightclub, guys, and thank you very much for tuning in.
See ya.
See ya.